follow-up to the Emmanuel Clase Luis Ortiz pitch rigging scandal. MLB and sportsbooks came out and said, and this is really all the major sportsbooks, that they're going to limit prop bets very specifically on pitches amid this gambling scandal. And you can read more, of course, in The Athletic and a number of other spots that covered this. So what you need to know is pitch level bets are maxed at $200 and they can't be part of parlay rules. So for example, a micro bet on a ball strike or pitch velocity, which was the culprit in the investigation here, the indictment of Clase and Ortiz, those are capped at $200 and you can't include them on parlays. If you read that whole story, then you know how there's some significant money made on some of what Clase did. You know, Ortiz, it was a shorter period of time, but you can also watch yesterday's video clip or segment of us talking about this. The real question from this particular announcement, does it matter? Would it make it a little less tempting for someone like Emmanuel Clase, who is accused of pitch rigging? Would it make it less tempting because it would make it more difficult for him to conspire with others to make significant money?
Here's the thing I have with this. And we talked about this yesterday. Emmanuel Clase was in line to make a lot of money, okay? And if these reports are accurate, and we're not saying they are, he was doing this for like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Instead of saying, man, if I just hold off on this, I'm going to be making 10 to 12 million next year, right? So will it stop people? Hopefully, but you never know because some people just can't stop themselves. And it's sad.
Right.
It's a sad thing, the world that we live in, where for everybody, you know, whether it's gambling, alcohol, drugs, whatever, everyone has things. Not everyone, but a lot of people have things they can't stop themselves from doing, right? And so if it's not about maybe the money, maybe it's about something else, right? But this is a step in the right direction. And when people ask me now, when they see me, what about these guys who are banned from gambling? And he's like, you know, whatever. And I say, but it's regulated now. So that's why we're catching people. Before it wasn't regulated.
You would never get caught.
So they would never get caught. Hence the Pete Rose problem until the guy got in trouble. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to throw Pete Rose under the bus. Right? So,
for example, in baseball, do you really think Pete Rose was the last major person to do some type of...
Ipe.
Well, that's a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about a player influencing a game. Do you think it was because Emmanuel Clase
it's definitely happened.
Is the biggest scandal since Pete Rose, right? Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Shohei Ipe thing was.
Right, but that was a little bit different. That's, you know, Shohei is cleared. Yeah. That was his secondhand dude. In this case, do we really think that nobody else was involved in anything for decades, or was it nearly impossible to catch anyone?
Yeah.
Because the thing I hear sometimes, now it's popping up left and right. I'm like, is it? We had one no-namer in baseball get caught for doing dumb crap with it last year, and then we have two pitchers doing something that, yes, I agree, it's pretty easy to influence because it's just one pitch. How much does it affect their performance? Not necessarily a lot. Here's my question, though, second layer, because yes, I am definitely somewhat biased on this. I like to bet. I think regulation has helped catch people. On the other side here, is this enough if you're truly trying to limit this scenario? Because you can still bet on at-bats. There are a lot of other micro bets that you can do, Kratz. And if I'm Clase and I'm like, okay, it's going to be difficult to make a lot of money on the velo or the ball strike, there are still a number of other props that he could do and figure out, right? Like, I'm pretty sure, I mean, you could bet on a walk. So instead of one pitch off, he could walk one dude and same thing can happen. So is this enough, or do we have to put some limits on more things that involve individuals? Baseball gets tricky with that because you can impact the game individually and it doesn't necessarily lead to a guarantee that it's going to impact the result. Am I making sense there? Like, are you catching someone, or is Clase going to say, hey, I'm doing this. I'm making $5-7 grand, whatever, to try and pull this off, even though I'm a millionaire? I'll just go to a different prop.
No, I don't think. I mean, I think it all lies. I don't know if changing the amount per like prop or whatever it is, because if you're changing the prop, then it's like, okay, then I have to change other props. To me, They have to nail this suspension. They have to nail this punishment. Make an example out of him. Maybe some people will say it's unfair. If he is found guilty, which we're thinking possibly that's the case, they got to nail. They have to nail him. They can't say, well, the new landscape with gambling, it's our partnerships, all this. No. You have to squash this right where it starts. Because just like you guys were alluding to, this wasn't the only case. This is a case of, hey, we found it because of the great regulations that we have.
Yeah, you're right. As we talk about this, so Kratz, people ask me this all the time, how, and I try to give an honest answer, and I've never been approached about this, and I've never, thank God, ever had to think about this. But people say, how easy would it be for you as a catcher to influence a game? I don't know if I could change the outcome of a game, but on these micro bets, I could definitely influence some things.
Because you could call for a pitch.
Call for pitches. Like if it's an over-under and it's close, oh, there's a guy on third with 2 outs. Oh, pass ball or ball in the dirt. I don't really give my A effort. Gets by.
Right.
There's a lot of things that you could do. And I've never really had to, thank God I never would ever want to do that. Like ever. Like that would be the last thing because I'm way too competitive and I would never do that.
Yeah.
Plus it's just not the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's literally illegal.
Illegal. But do you see what I'm saying? Like as a catcher, Kratz, think about like you get to a 3-2 count and you're like, oh, this guy can't throw this pitch for a strike. Let's call that pitch. And he walks a guy and there's a walk prop bet. But
this is my point.
As the one position, a pitcher obviously could do these, but as a catcher, you could definitely influence some things if you were dumb enough to do this.
This episode of FT is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. Give me an example in Pennsylvania, Kratz.
Right down the street from my house, the Tap House. Not only is it an awesome place to hang out, get your beers, get your drinks, whatever it is, but you know what? The company has the simplicity of Square, and they give back to the community with 10% of all the proceeds that they bring in going back to community projects.
I love it. Sports and sports bars are so good at bringing together local communities, and you can actually take this ad as an excuse to go support your local spot and have yourself a day or a weekend in the neighborhood. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. These businesses are what make the neighborhood the neighborhood. So visit square.com/go/foul to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. Again, that's square.com/go/foul to learn more. Does this limit the temptation at all? The answer has to be yes. It should limit it at least a little bit. It is a little bit more difficult for somebody to make.
You got to make it harder.
Like for Clase, even if he was like, you know what, the only thing I can really handle is the ball strike or the velo, and you can still bet on that. They're knocking $200 bets. You're going to have to get a lot of people together to make serious money to, quote, make it worth his time. The answer from others is, well, he wasn't making that much anyway, right? But you'd still need a lot of people to get together on a bet, right? I mean, you need a lot of bets to be placed on a lot of books.
But then it would also open eyes when all of a sudden, like that's kind of what happened. There was all this money bet on one pitch.
Here's the thing. They catch that stuff in 5 seconds now. The reason it doesn't come out quickly is there's investigation. The investigations are what take forever. They catch that in minutes.
And Andy Pies, Andy Pies.
What about him?
He swung at the one in the dirt that was 3 foot outside.
No, it was down. It wasn't outside.
It wasn't very close.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is, does this help? Yes. Is it enough? For me, no. I would do some other limitations prop-wise. I think there are a few other things that you could look at and say, hey, it would also help if we limit some at-bat results.
Yeah, I think you need to put limits on it. And by the way, I don't want to make this clear. We're not saying Andy Pies did anything. It was just the example they used.
You're just making fun of it.
But that was the example they used. That was supposed to be a pitch that was a ball, and sometimes guys swing at them.
My point is, yes. So if you want,
right?
Okay, much more. This is a good point. Much more difficult for somebody to influence a game decision or a over/under, right? Like they can do it within the game, but if we're heading
micro bets are easier to manipulate.
Way easier to. That's
like if I'm a hitter and I tell, hey, my second at bat, I'm going to swing at the first pitch, no matter where it is. It'll be a strike. I could go up there and swing and miss. It could be 7 feet outside.
Those are limited now. But
they should be. because that makes it tougher.
But if there's a hitter who wants to strike out in his first at bat, it's usually pretty easy for them to do that
Also
too.
true, yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
someone's got to be really off with their control, or you can strike out.
You can still swing, though. I mean, unless they throw it right at you, you can still swing.
But that's the point: is should strikeouts be looked at?
I don't know. Then you're getting too deep a rat.
Why am I getting too deep? I think this is the whole point.
Because then you have to start limiting everything.
No, I don't think you have to limit everything. I'm just saying, are 2 categories enough, or should it be more like 5 or 6? Why is that so off?
Most well, no, I mean you can just keep going, and then because everything you say, someone can find.
I know, but if you keep going, like you said, it's much more difficult to influence that, right?
Like I don't know. Somebody can always figure out a way to influence something if they're that far outside the box and that troubled and that in need of stuff.
My point is with Clase,
Ortiz, not just everyone
and Ortiz.
Let's not forget
if what is said is true, he probably looked at it, Kratz, like, oh, a pitch here and there over a ton of pitches over a course of a whole season, no big deal, and pretty difficult to catch me on that one damn pitch. They did. No, you don't think I've got anything here where it's like, hey, should we push it a little more to a few other props? That to me, I'm bringing this up because also when I look at this stuff, I look at the consensus from fans, and they're like, yeah, there's a few others I can bring up that I think would help to maybe steer temptation percentage down. Or you could be on the other side where you're like, you know what? If you're that guy, you're going to be that guy, and you're going to figure out a way. So it doesn't really matter if you limit the dollars.
He got caught too. Like I think that's more limiting than any like amounts. That's more limiting. Like
setting the example and catching someone.
Yes, that is the biggest. In my opinion, I mean, when it was going through college basketball, those guys got theirs. Like they done. Career's over. No, never a second chance. That's what they have to do. They have to do that here again with Clase and Ortiz.
Well, if the allegations are proven true to any extent, they're never going to play baseball again, and they might face jail time. I would say those are pretty severe consequences.
Yeah.
How much more can you get?
Didn't work for Pete Rose. Pete Rose did it. He got banned for life. He's back though.
Yeah, but
indefinitely banned until they don't want to deal with it anymore.
So does that mean?
So they want to look like the good guy. That's why I said it. That's why I said it. Don't try to be the good guy. Don't try to be the like. Oh well, you know what? I think he served his time. I think this is a major integrity. Honesty is huge in our sport. If they don't punish guilty people, we're not assuming they're guilty yet, but if they are found guilty, if they do not punish them from a Major League Baseball standpoint, then it's not going. It doesn't matter what you put the limits to. It doesn't matter where it's at. There's going to be people that are like, you know what? I'm willing to take the chance. I'm not saying the majority. I'm saying there's still those minorities, but you can never have integrity of the game in question, in my opinion. It's like saying like if there was like owners that own the team that didn't try to put a winning team out there, you could never have that. Oh wait, we do.
Wait, we do. Or another sport where you allegedly pay someone to avoid the salary cap. That story's insane. Anyway, it's a good topic. You know, they felt like they made a lot of progress. Manfred announced like he felt like that was a good thing. It's something. The question of the day here was it enough? Is that enough to steer anything? There's no way to really know. So that's all I got.